Okay, this is the last video of the week, and it's a bit sillier than before. It's two World War II movies based by novels by Alistair Maclean. It's Guns of Navarone and Force 10 from Navarone. I saw both of them in Blu-ray recently, and I've got this new Blu-ray from Indicator, which is very nice. You get a booklet, and you get a 2-disc, you get 2 different cuts of the film, plus some extras. It's a very good disc. Very recommended if you like the Navarone films. Now, the Navarone films is weird for me because I saw the second one first, because Force 10 from Navarone, if you're growing up in the 70s and 80s, it's a film that was always on TV. It's like there was no escaping from Force 10 from Navarone. It was always on TV, it was never missing. So I could tell you most of the film. In the 80s, when you asked me as kids what happened in Force 10 from Navarone, I would know it back to front. But I haven't seen it for 20 years. So even though when I saw it again, I'd forgotten quite a lot of it. But I remembered a lot of imagery from it, I just didn't know what order they came in. So it's kind of weird. But Guns of Navarone, I was never that keen on it. I'd seen it, it was fine. It's the more acclaimed of the two. But didn't really do much for me because I'd seen the second one first. So for me, Robert Shaw was the character that Gregory Peck plays, rather than for most people Gregory Peck plays the character and Robert Shaw just replaced him. And it probably wasn't as distinctive for most people, but because I saw it in the wrong order as a kid, I get messed around a little bit in my head. Now, watch them again, objectively Guns of Navarone's a better film, like, by a mile. It really is a better film. It's a really good World War II movie. Despite a few flaws, it really works. It's got some nice character moments. The characters are all interesting. It's a tad long, but you don't mind it that much because the characters are good enough. You don't really care so much. The weird thing about that film when I watched it was that the bit I liked least was the actual final third when you have to blow up the guns. I much preferred the bit them get into Navarone and trying to survive in Navarone before they go to the guns. I thought that was much better because it was all about it's a man in a mission movie. They have to get the men in the mission, get them together, say this is what we're going to do. They bring everyone together, they go on the mission, getting to the location's difficult. They have to get to Navarone, climb up this impossible mountain. So that's why Gregory Peck's in the first place. He's Mallory, who was a mountain climber. So he has to climb and make a route for everyone else to follow him up, and he drops ropes down so people can climb the ropes, but he has to do it by himself to start with to make it, to clear a path. That's a terrific sequence of climbing up the walls of Navarone. Then they get there and they have to actually, they've been discovered as being, there's a force in Navarone, so the Germans are after them. So the second third of the movie is a manhunt. The Germans are after them. They have to escape. They keep on the run. One of the people are injured. Other people have different issues. They know there's a traitor somewhere. Who's a traitor? Because they know someone set them up. Something's wrong. Then the final third is they discover the traitor and they go and blow up the guns. That's the structure of the film. But I find out you get good character beats. I mean, Gregory Peck plays a character who's not really a leader, but he's in the war, and he's got Anthony Quinn as his sidekick. Anthony Quinn hates him because a decision Peck made caused the deaths of his family. So Quinn says, we both have a common enemy in the Nazis, but after this is over, this war's over, I'm going to kill you. So Peck has a death sentence hanging over his head the whole film. And that really gives him an edge. It also means that he's becoming more ruthless the more he goes on into the film, because Quinn says the reason why I made the mistake to lost his family because Peck was too soft. That's the setup, that's a great setup. And it basically means like two actors like Gregory Peck and Anthony Quinn. Gregory Peck was a kind of an actor who kind of underplayed too much. I've always found him a bit bland. He's never been one of my favourites in any way. And Anthony Quinn's an actor who can overplay too much. But because of this one tension between them, it keeps the characters interesting. It keeps Quinn toned down and Peck on edge so that he can play a character who gets to make more and more dubious decisions as the film goes on. He has to become the leader, because their leader is the one that's injured, and Peck has to make decisions and be tactical in ways he was never expected to do. And he has to make decisions that are pretty cold to give them a chance to blow up the guns. It doesn't sit well with some people, but it really works. So that's a good tension for the film. You also have David Niven's Miller, who's the bomb guy, and he's not interested in fighting. He has a very cynical view of the world, but he's good at bombs, so he's brought along and he knows what he's doing. And he's been brought along by the guy who's been injured. And as the film goes on, Mallory and Miller start to become more friendly as the other ones have to go and do the actual bombing at the end. But there's a tension between them as well, because Miller doesn't agree with what Mallory does for a lot of the time. It's just a terrific setup. J. Lee Cobb directs it, and it's one of his best films. It's well written. It's silly in places, but the ideas are good. But the end's kind of boy's own adventure more than the rest of the film. The rest of the film is like compromises, dramatic compromises. I mean, it's not realistic, but it's dramatic compromises. It's always interesting. Like Carl Foreman, the producer, wrote it and was pretty hands-on during the making of it. But it's just the finale is a bit silly because they know they're making a silly film, even though they're trying to take it seriously, it allows for humour throughout the film, which really helps the film. So it's really well balanced. But the finale I found kind of obvious, because you knew they were going to blow up the guns. And as soon as they went for the guns, you had a direction, you knew it was going to succeed. So they had a lot of explosion stuff, but it was less interesting than the setup of getting there and escaping the Nazis. The gun stuff is well done, but compared to everything else, it feels a little shallow in comparison, because you've got an obvious way to do it, and I kind of feel there's another twist or two they could have had in there to have made it more difficult. Because it feels as soon as they get near the guns, they go for the guns, and there's not many complications, and it's not as interesting as the rest of the film. But it's still a wonderful film, really enjoyable. I probably thought it was too slow as a kid because there wasn't enough explosions early on, and that's now the stuff I like most, is the climbing the walls, the manhunt, all that stuff's way up my alley. I love all that kind of thing, so Guns of Navarone is terrific. Force 10 from Navarone is a guilty pleasure movie now. I think I always kind of knew it was. I always knew there was something wrong, but it was still really enjoyable, because it's one of those films that don't have a really good script, but they do have a good director and a good cast for a game, and that makes up for a lot of the script problems. This is a film with it was developed for years. It was developed after the first film. It was never made, and then it just went into development hell for a long time. Then finally came out. The film was not like the book at all, because it was based on a novel by Alistair Maclean. The film was not like it. They added characters, took away characters. Like the character Anthony Quinn plays in the first one was in the book but not in the film. And the characters are kind of hollowed out a bit. But despite all that, and despite the fact there's some major construction flaws, it's still really enjoyable, because they have Robert Shaw as Mallory. And Robert Shaw, even when he's cashing a cheque like he is here, he's obviously cashing a cheque, he's still such a good actor that he's still very enjoyable. You have a young Harrison Ford who's still learning the ropes, but he's eager to learn from Robert Shaw. He's obviously, you get a sense he agreed to this film to work with Robert Shaw, really, probably. You know, apart from the paycheck, probably that was a big attraction. Edward Fox as Miller, replacing David Niven. He's a lot of fun as well. He's a bit more eccentric. What you find is that they've chucked the characters out and they kept the names. Like, Mallory in this one has nothing like Gregory Peck character. There's no moral problems for him here. He's a funny character, a bit eccentric. Robert Shaw plays him that way. Doesn't really reference the first film at all. There is no connection. They're just the character with the same name, who have the same backstory, but they don't really. There's no connection to the drama as the first one. And Miller's a bit sillier as well. But to be honest, it's so enjoyable that you don't really care that it's kind of like they've kind of gutted the characters. They are so good. those two together. They have a fun chemistry. They like taking a mickey at each other. Neither of them are really top army guys. They're both like eccentrics. And Harrison Ford plays the serious one. He's the guy who's on the mission. He has to be serious. But even he seems to be enjoying himself and playing around and working with Robert Shaw. Even though he's playing the serious one, he's still having fun. Him and Shaw are a good combination. They seem to enjoy each other's company even though they're playing characters who don't like each other much. So they've got an easygoing feel to them. And I swear that Harrison Ford later on took on a lot of Robert Shaw mannerisms. Watching this, it's like that kind of casual nature that you see Shaw do here within a kind of action beats. Something that Harrison Ford kind of did in Star Wars, but did it a lot better afterwards. Because I think he kind of learned from Shaw how to be casual and be serious at the same time. And there's just a sense that he picked up a couple of tips from Shaw how to do this stuff. Like he learned some tricks. You've also got Carl Weathers as a stowaway who's a medical guy who's getting arrested. And somehow he tags along with the group. It's really stupid because he could have been part of the group anyway and it would have been fine, and he could have been a rebellious part of the group. This just makes him an outsider and adds a bit of tension apparently, but it doesn't add any tension because the character would work better as a part of the Force 10 in the first place. And it would have been fine. It would have actually made more sense. It would just be a case of, yeah, most of these guys would have been white, but if the Carl Weathers character was black, but he was a good soldier, they'd be able to put him into that. That would have made more sense what they do. There's also, it doesn't make sense, like the idea that Mallory and Miller are the climber and the bomb expert. They're the guys you need to blow up a bridge, which is the option, which is what they're trying to do in this film. But they're on the mission to actually find a spy. And Harrison Ford character who can kill people is charged of the mission and blow something up. Even though he's not qualified to do that, it's like, why don't you just say that they were on this mission to block the bridge as well as find this other guy, and it would have been fine. It would have made much more sense of every character, and it's like, it's really weird they're not on that mission. There's also weird things, they get caught almost instantly when they arrive in Yugoslavia, because it's set in Yugoslavia this time with two different, the partisans and another group. So Richard Kiel plays the leader of the baddies from Yugoslavia, and there's a guy, a British actor playing a Yugoslavian leading the good guys, and you have Franco Nero as the spy in the midst. Even though he's a spy and he's a German spy, and he betrayed people in the first one apparently, even though you never saw him. In this one, he's a spy. They can't prove it. They don't really trust him, but they try to work out if he really is a spy or not a spy. It turns out he is. But why didn't he give up? Because there was some spies for that group in the German group for a while, and so why did he just give them up if he was a spy for the other group? It just doesn't make sense on a script level, but it's almost like they changed the script so often that by the end of the film it didn't make sense and they couldn't do anything about it. But all these things don't really matter. The idea that they get caught so early as well really makes them look incompetent really quickly. But they escape, but it's still the film gets started and stops suddenly as they get caught, and that kind of cripples the pacing for a while. But it doesn't matter though, because it's so well done, and the director, Guy Hampton, did all the Bond films, and he knows what he's doing, and it's like, it's so well made anyway, and it's such a nostalgic, weird film that the actors are so much fun that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that there are all these problems. So it's very enjoyable. They end with the bridge, they end with the blow up the bridge to great, to blow up a dam, to flood the bridge and destroy its structure that way. And it's great fun. That's what I remember most. And there's lots of stuff, and the final section is really good because they have to go into the Germans because they've lost their explosives because they get caught. So they have to go and steal explosives from the Germans, then get out in a train and then go to the dam to blow it up. And there's some great little moments there of like subterfuge and betrayals with Franco Nero that really work. There's a great sequence where they're the good guys, Yugoslavians, are waiting for a shipment of explosives, and they're betrayed by Nero, and a plane comes down and just brutalises them. And that's really well done. And the final section is really good as well, as as Carl Weathers goes against Richard Keel in a really fun fight, and then they blow up the bridge, blow up the dam, blow up the bridge. Unfortunately, because Miller doesn't tell them that it's a slow acting bomb, where they blow it up in certain places, and then the internal structure of the dam will collapse on itself. It doesn't blow up instantly, because he gave him time to get out, and they think he blew it, he messed it up, and then they start to realise no, he didn't. It actually is going to work, and they have to start running like hell. So there's nice little moments there throughout. It's really enjoyable, but it's the construction of it is way worse than the first film. Going to Navarone was a better film. It's a better character work. But this is the film I saw first. This is the film I have nostalgia for, and this film I really enjoy, even though it has so many problems. It's just its buying charm. It's really enjoyable though. It's a really enjoyable film. But they're both really enjoyable. They're both fun movies if you love that kind of World War II movie. They're just great examples of it. So I'd highly recommend both of them. Just enjoy them, and I hope you enjoyed these videos this week. I hope there's a nice selection of them. I'll be back next week with more videos, but I'll see you then. Right, bye for now.